Interest groups, Chapter 8. Interest groups are groups of citizens who share a common interest, such as political opinions, religious affiliations, ideological beliefs, social goals, or economic objectives, and then they try to influence public policy to benefit their members. Now, the constitutional basis for interest groups lies in the First Amendment, which guarantees both the right to assemble and the right to petition the government for redress of grievances. Individuals and interest groups have lobbied legislators from the nation's earliest days, and their numbers have vastly increased over time. Today's groups also lobby executive branch officials and attempt to influence judicial appointments and the courts through lawsuits and amicus curiae briefs, which are briefs brought by people who are called friends of the court and have no direct interest in the lawsuits. Interest groups can be categorized as economic interest groups, ideological interest groups, foreign policy and international interest groups. Each has different policy goals and strategies. Generally, interest groups gather and disseminate information on their issue areas, lobbying using various strategies such as meeting with staff and legislatures, as well as workers in the executive branch. And they contribute to political campaigns and advertise to the extent that federal laws allow them to. Scholars who study why interest groups form and their effects in a democratic society debate whether the wealthy have disproportionate power to use interest groups to their advantage, and so to disadvantage the others. Scholars also debate whether the interest groups balance each other out. Lobbyists, federal regulators, and members of Congress form networks that some describe as iron and closed to citizen influence, and some described as transparent and open to citizen influence. In today's democracy, elected officials, bureaucrats, and even the judiciary often act as intermediaries in interest group conflicts. Well, the success of interest groups can be measured in 4 ways. 1, leadership accountability. 2, membership stability. 3, financial stability. And 4, public influence. The longer an interest group exists, the more power it has. When a policy is debated, some interest groups will win by either maintaining the status quo, or they might win by changing the current policy. Think about it. What are some interest groups that would represent different characteristics of voters, such as interest groups that would represent different genders, or income, or age, or race, or ethnicity, or ideology? Think about the hypothetical and take the position that you would take if you were the head of an interest group, and describe what policy goals and what strategies you would want to use to influence legislators or voters or other groups to support your policy goals. Think of how you would propose ways of balancing power across interest groups to make sure that government is equally responsive to as many people as possible on whatever your given issue is. Do you think an interest group can be too powerful? And then think, what are some interest groups in which you feel that you're most interested in, or that you might be members of? Please go to the discussion board for this week's discussion question and list some of your answers. Remember, anything you post there is public, so don't put in private information. And also remember, there's no wrong answer. We're looking for your ideas, thoughts, and opinions. Tell us what you think about interest groups. Thank you.